What's going on, guys? It's your boy Coreboy back at it again today with a new video, and of course we're over here on Halo Infinite like always. And oh, we're loving the grind. We're doing it. We are at we still need 69k to get to the next grade of Lieutenant Colonel, and then I don't remember how many fucking ranks we need after that, so we're gonna go check really quick because I don't fucking remember. It's so damn many. It's not even funny half the time. We got to do Colonel, Brigadier General, and then General, and then we are at Hero. Which we're looking at about like 884 games is what it says on here. For us to actually hit Hero. I'm really looking forward to that. Can't wait to do my long stream for Hero. But yeah, can't wait to do our long stream to Hero. It's gonna be a fun time. I think it's gonna be a blast, and then y'all are gonna be getting a lot of MCC content. If y'all don't know, I'm 100%ing every Halo, including in the multiplayer. So I'm hitting Hero on here, Tor 11 over on MCC. I know some people are like, "Oh, you're forgetting Halo 5." It's not on PC. That's it. That's the only reason it's not on PC, so I can't do it. Now, if Halo 5 got an official release on PC, damn right I'd be playing it, because I do love Halo 5's multiplayer. I just don't like playing on console, and still to this day, for some reason, since I've switched to playing on keyboard and mouse versus controller, my hands just don't work on a controller like they used to. Trust me, it's hard enough filming machinimas and trying to get used to thumbsticks, and not just my little mouse where I can move my character around. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but we're still doing it. We're still getting it done, because that's what we're supposed to do here. We are Halo grinders. I don't know why I'm doing it. It's pain. Also this weekend, we're possibly starting the Halo 2 Legendary run, so if y'all want to come watch that, come watch me suffer and play Halo 2, you can do so. It's gonna be painful and excruciating, and I'm probably gonna hate myself halfway through it, but it'll be worth it. Not really. But also today, when it comes to Halo, we do have quite a bit to talk about, some things I've been wanting to talk about, and I meant to kind of focus on it when I talked about my whole issues within the FPS industry video that I did not too long ago. It's been a bit of a recurring thought within my brain here recently. So I figured I would take the time and, actually speak upon it. And not just ignore it like I do some things, because they are things that are worthy to be talked about. I don't know why I took so long to fall off of that, but that was so not cool. But there's some things I want to talk about when it comes to the whole FPS genre, or really any competitive game that has multiplayer, things of that nature. And it's kind of talking about SBMM and the issues that subside within SBMM versus the pros of it. Now, I know people will say, yeah, SBMM bad. Yeah, SBMM is not a good thing. It's not great for the gaming environment. In fact, the issue that I have most of the time with SBMM is not that it puts people in more of like a rank. It's the entitlement that I guess it kind of gives certain players that aren't good at games. And it's really fucking irritating as someone who's been playing games for a long time, of being like, what do you mean? Why do you have this like entitlement because you're a bad player? Did that blow up on it? Oh, that blew up on the shield of his. Okay, bye, Sticky. Fuck you, idiot. Nerd. Sit down. But I feel like SBMM has like led to this point now where so many people who like aren't good at games end up having like this entitlement because they think they're good because they're playing within a rank that is, bottom of the fucking barrel, that it becomes just like really annoying thing of being like, yeah, buddy, you're not that actual, like, you're not as good of a player as you think you are. You just think you're good because the game is placing you within a rank that you are at that is super fucking easy. Like, I'm just going to be honest, that's kind of how it is about 90% of the time due to SBMM. It's like, no, buddy, you ain't as good as you think you are. You really are just a bottom-of-the-barrel player, and it adds to a lot of issues with games. And, I mean, it's annoying as hell, first of all, because it feels like there's a lot of, like, a lot of the social aspect of gaming has left since SBMM has, become, like, the big thing. Like, mostly something that every single, multiplayer experience has now is SBMM. And it really does cause this, like, weird disconnected part to the gaming community that just like wasn't there years ago. Of course, I understand it's for player retention, and I get that, but like, dog, it's so fucking annoying. I feel like games become less I don't know how to explain it. They feel less personable, and they feel a lot more like dry, because it's placing a just a player at that skill level with players at that skill level, and it's kind of really fucking bad for the game. Like I said, it's good for those like really low level players, people who are like really bottom of the barrel, it's good for them because it does retain those players because they're not going to just give up because there's people who are better than them, which I'll say it how it is. Back in the day, that wasn't even an issue. People actually just took the time to get good at a game. And, you know, I hear the argument 24/7. Well, not everybody has time to put hours into a game. You didn't have to. You really didn't have to put a ridiculous amount of hours. It doesn't take, you know, a lot of time to get decently good at a game to where you can actually, you know, play against people consistently. It really just takes, like, just having a thought process. Why is this fucker... Dude, he chased me from one side of the map to the other, basically. That fucker wanted me dead. And I was just trying to find something to use because I was like, oh, God, I fucked up. But it's cool. But I don't know. I feel like giving, like, the lowest tier of players the, like, the confidence that they have, I guess is the best way to put it, is such a bad thing. It has really created this weird divide in the gaming community that is, like, so fucking unfortunate to me. Like, I have friends who aren't necessarily good at multiplayer games, and they're just like, yeah, I'm just not gonna play them because I'm not good. I'm not gonna act like I'm the best player because I'm playing against people at my fucking level. Like, people do understand it, but there's a lot of people who don't, who are just, like, super casuals, and that's, like, not a bad thing. Being a casual player is not a bad thing, so don't take this as, like, an insult towards casual gamers. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. God damn, I got both of them! What the hell were you doing? Weren't even paying attention for the grenades. But there's nothing wrong with being a casual player. Like, not everybody has the time to try to become, you know, the best of the best. But there also needs to be this thing where people understand, like, there are people who are just going to be better than you. And I feel like it's caused a lot of issues for games that actually have really high skill gaps. For example, if y'all don't know, I'm a huge Splitgate fan, and I have been since Splitgate 1 came out. I love that game. It's, to me, a perfect combination of a lot of things that I love in different games. It feels a little bit like Halo. It feels a little bit like Quake. It feels a little bit like its own fucking thing. And I think that's actually so fucking cool about it. But here's the thing. That game has a crazy skill gap in it. And it's noticeable. You notice when somebody's really good with those portals. And truly, that's one of the things that makes it really fun, is learning that specific movement mechanic, which, like, really no other game has. And actually, like, finding your plays around it makes it really fun. But here's the issue of the last couple of years, where this has become more and more of an issue, is people just simply don't want to learn how to play a game. They want their hands to be held the entire time. And I feel like it's an issue thanks to be honest, to Call of Duty. That I think it's, like, genuinely one of the pinpoints that we could look at and be like, yep, this is what's caused a lot of issues. Because if people's hands aren't getting held through the game, they don't want to play it. And I think that's a really bad thing. I will say it is good to see the rise of things like FromSoft games doing so fucking well. Like, that's genuinely really good to see, because that does show that there is a market for games that are inherently more difficult than a game that holds your hand. And there's nothing wrong with playing easy games either. I will straight up say that. I love an easy game sometimes. Like, I love games that literally have about as much, like, gameplay as a farming sim. And trust me, I'm saying that because there is a farming sim that I have fallen in love with this year that I cannot wait for it to get more updates because I just have fun with it. There's nothing wrong with an easy game. But if you're going to, like, go play other games that are within, like, the shooter genre specifically, and then get mad because COD is, like, the baseline easiest FPS that you can get into, and then go from there, then it's kind of weird to me of, like, why do you play FPSs then, or want to try to expand in FPS games? It's just really odd to me, because, like, I enjoy playing COD. I really like BO6's beta, but I'm never gonna go out of my way to say, like, yeah, COD's a hard game. Like, it's not. Like, there's good players in Call of Duty. That's, like, just kind of a given because it's such a popular fucking game. And there's players that are better than others, but when it comes to, like, a threshold of, like, skill, I feel like it's kind of, like, bottom of the barrel of that. I mean, if you watch competitive games, I think most people would know that. And it's kind of crazy to me. People, I guess, don't see that whenever, you know, there are people who were pros at one game and then maybe switched over to COD because people were just, you know, enjoying it that year, or they just wanted to go try something different, and how easy it is for them to flow in and out of it. And I think a great example of that is Optic Formal. If you don't know, he's a Halo pro, but he did switch over to COD at one point, and he was a very good COD player. Dude was just naturally good at the game. And then came back over to Halo and is still a absolute demon whenever it comes to how he plays Halo. Dude is absolutely insane. One of my favorite players to watch. And it shows in a lot of ways that I don't really think many COD players could do that. And if there are any that need to like come to your all's mind, like let me know because I would like to know. But I don't know. COD is just like a weird fucking game that has caused this like weird stigma around other FPSs, and it's affected a lot of games, specifically games like X Defiant, for example. A game that I do enjoy quite a bit. While I did have my issues with Season 1, and I haven't got around to doing a Season 2 video yet, I've actually really been enjoying Season 2. It's super fucking fun. They fixed a lot of things that I had issues with personally. Things that, like, actually maybe just not really want to play the game nearly as much. So, shout out to that team. But because that game does not have SBMM, people are noticing that, like, oh, wow, the game not only has more, like, a social, like, part to it. Like, there's a lot more people just, like, overall, like, talking, hanging out, like, really playing together rather than just like solo queuing all the time. And it's created like a weird how do I put this, like, divide where people are like, no, everybody's too good at this game, I don't want to play. And it's like, not everybody's too good. You were simply just like the lowest level of player, and it's a lot of people now because of how accessible gaming has got, which is a good and bad thing. I've talked about it a lot. It's very odd how just like accessible gaming has become now, and now there's a lot of people who didn't grow up playing games, that got into games in like their 20s, and it's like super weird to me, even like 30s and 40s. And sometimes that's bad, sometimes it's good. It creates a lot of weird conversations to have, and this is one that's, I think, really odd to have, is like the whole shit, like, games are skillful, therefore they're bad. And I feel like that's where a lot of that argument comes from, is people just don't want to get good at a game, so they're just like, no, this is bad because there's good players here. Some people have more time for it. Some people play games for a living. It's part of what happens. You know, there's people who do content for games now. There's people who, you know, are trying to get to that level because they want to, you know, participate at a pro level, which isn't bad. You know, games have become significantly more competitive, and I think that's a cool thing. It's added a lot to the competitive environment of games, especially like in esports, on like a big scale, not just like a grassroots scale. But there's a lot that's been added from it, and I think it's really good, but also there's a lot of really bad that comes from it as well. Things that just aren't necessarily as great for the community as a whole. And personally, I do feel like that's why, in a lot of ways, if a old school Halo game came out, I don't think people would like it, because there is a skill gap with old school Halo. And Halo in general has like a pretty unique skill gap to it. With like how like Halo flows and how the maps work, how the movement works and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of people would be really turned off from it because Halo is a game that has a skill gap. I actually have a couple of friends of mine who've tried to get into Halo, and they don't actually particularly enjoy it because they're like, the skill gap is just a little too high for me. They like a game that's a little bit more easy and more, you know, straightforward, which I understand. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you say a game is just like naturally bad because it has a skill gap in it, you're just kind of wrong. You just don't want to admit that you aren't good at something. And there's nothing wrong with me that you aren't good at something. Like, listen, I'm an above average Halo player. I'm nowhere near the top, you know, percentile. I would say I'm in like maybe the top 15% of players when it comes to how I play and how well I do. I would say overall I'm a pretty good FFA player, but there are people who are significantly better than me, and I run into them constantly, and it doesn't really bother me. Like, I mean, it gets annoying sometimes because I'm like, damn, I don't want to play against sweaty people, but, you know, it's part of the game and how it goes. It's whatever. I'm not ever really mad at it. I just kind of accept it and go on to my next game like it's nothing. And if I don't like a game, guess what? I just fucking leave it and hope I get re-queued to a different lobby. There's nothing wrong with that either. It is okay to leave games. Like, I can promise you that much. At least it's more forgiving on Infinite than it is on MCC. MCC is just... It's like, hey, you left one game banned for 5 minutes. Fuck you. And it's like, okay, thanks. I appreciate it, I guess. But I feel like we need to, like, kind of come back and dial back on the whole, you know, saying a game is bad because you just aren't good at it. If you aren't good at it, guess what? That's okay. Either take the time to get better at said game, or, hear me out here, just don't play it. It's not that hard. Wishing games deaths because you aren't good at it, I think, has genuinely done so much harm to gaming as a whole. At least compared to the goods that it's done a lot of damage, because now we have games that come out that are super fucking good, but because there's a skill gap in it, or because there's no SBMM, so you're not playing with people directly at your rank at all fucking times, it's caused this weird divide amongst gamers of being like, no, these players are, they're too good. Like, we can't compete with them. It's like, well, okay, take the time to get better, or just don't play, or just accept the fact that, hey, you may not be the best player in the fucking game. I don't know. It's weird. There's just too much fucking entitlement that comes with it these days, and I don't know. For me, in a lot of ways, it kind of kills certain games, you know, aspects to me, because I'm like, don't nerf a game so because you want, you know, bad players to feel more welcomed. Like, there's no reason to do that. Like, there's absolutely no reason for it. Now, I do think XDefiant did something really cool when it first came out, and that was they had a starter playlist where levels 1 through 25, it would have SBMM to be matched with where you're at, and so you could actually understand the learning curve of the game, which was really fucking good for that game, I think. Was having that mode just so like people would actually stick around and learn it, but of course, as soon as you hit past level 25, people are like, oh yeah, I'm pros at the game, but then they may get a lobby that's a little bit hard and be like, yeah, nope, bad game, don't want to play it anymore because these people are better than me, which is just bad. God, I was getting shot by 3 different people. That fucking sucked. Okay. Yeah. And see right here, I'm getting in a sweaty lobby. I'm not playing against sweaty people while I'm trying to record. It's part of the fucking thing that happens. It's okay. Guess what? Shit happens. It's whatever. I ain't mad about it. Sorry, buddy. I just fucking AR spammed the shit out of that, dude. My sniper shot is not. I haven't got to play a single thing of shoddy snipes today. And it's really shocking because I haven't had time to, like, actually sit down and, like, practice my sniper shot. As the funnest thing is whenever you don't get to practice a certain element. And that's what makes Halo so fun to me, is I get to just sit here and, like, you'll notice as you play different modes, you get to use different weapons, like, you'll just significantly get better with them as you get that, like, little bit of practice in. You know, you get that sniper shot warmed up, you start learning your you get used to your placement and everything. You get used to how, you're working with it. It just adds that, like, bit of adds that touch to it, and God, I love it so much. But I do think people need to stop being scared of games because they aren't good at it. Either one, just like I said, take the time to get good at it, or just don't play it. There's no reason to wish upon a game's death and hoping that you ruin the general, like, response to the game so much that it, like, does start impacting, which people I don't think understand is like, once something becomes such common ground, it does genuinely just hurt games as a whole. It doesn't just hurt, the game you're trying to talk about. It does, like, to a degree, make devs want to play things more safe and kind of just start giving out, the same thing over and over and over again, and it's really bad for the gaming industry as a whole. I feel like that's why we've seen a lot of games not really take the risk factor of, like, well, let's try something new. And it's just bad overall. I hate to see it as somebody who's been playing games their entire life. Like, I hate seeing that more than anything, of where, like, things just really aren't innovative anymore. There's a lot of things that have been lost to time, and I feel like the only games that ever really succeed that go out of the way to try new things or try to be difficult are, like, Souls games, and I guess because it's like, oh, it's expected, it's a hard game, which isn't good. I like to see that in other realms of games, too. There's, some that have actually really worked out, to a degree. Like, for example, I think Tarkov is an extremely successful game, and it is difficult. There's a difficulty to that game. There's a risk-reward factor. This dude is a actual sweaty fella. God damn. Like, I'm not trying to record. I'm not really focused on gameplay. I'm just trying to, like, focus on talking. But, like, holy shit, I just happened to notice it as I kept playing out this game, and I was like, son of a bitch, that is a sweaty fucker. Like, this is insane. This is, like, some of the sweatiest FFA I've had to play in a minute. And, like, I love FFA, but goddamn, sometimes you get lobbies like this of people who just, like, don't want to play ranked. Which, also, I would love to mention this at the end of the video. Hey, 343, please give us a ranked FFA playlist. I would love that. Give us the ability to test our skills in ranked and really show where we're placing against other people. It'd be really cool to see, in my opinion. But, other than that, though, guys, I just wanted to talk about that today because I had a lot of thoughts on it. It's something that, like, roams in my brain quite a bit. But other than that, I will catch you all later. Come check out the stream tonight.